All right, are we recording? Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to call the P County Commissioners Court regular term meeting on set scheduled for February 12th, 2024 at 9 a.m. to order. We're physically located at P County Courthouse, Commissioners Courtroom, number 110, 105 West Corpus Christi Street, Beeville, Texas, 78102. That was the call to order. Everybody please join Commissioner Olivares in prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us such great weather. Thank you for giving us a little bit of rain that we received. It was well needed. I know the farmers are appreciating that. And then as I'm learning, some of the farmers may think it's too much rain, but anyhow, thank you very much for what you've given us. Please bless this court, allowing us to make prudent decisions and work together as a team as a whole so that we can help the people here in B County perform better. So thank you very much. Appreciate everyone coming. Bless them that showed up today. Keep us focused for the rest of the year as we move toward to try and meet a lot of our common goals. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We're at agenda item number 4, which is recognition of visitors. I see some visitors in the audience today. Thank you all for being here. Please keep coming back. This is not public comment, but if there's anybody who would like to identify themselves for our record, I'd give you the opportunity to do so at this time. Please raise your hand and I'll identify you. Thank you all for being here. And we'll move on to agenda item number 5, Commissioners Court opening remarks. Commissioner Lennon, you have the floor, sir.
Anyway, been a busy couple of weeks. Participated at the livestock show where I was asked to be a rabbit superintendent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The show went smoothly though, from the chickens, the rabbits, the lambs, everything. It went really good. Also, once again asked to be a ring man at the auction. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. The sale did really good this year. So thank everyone that came out and purchased, and even the ones that bid on animals and whatnot. Thank everyone for coming out to do that. It's important to those kids. Road and Bridge, thank you guys for putting up that speed limit sign on Daisy. And a speed limit sign replaced out there. And then also I want to thank the city. I got a call that there was right behind Hoag's Jewelry, there was a really bad pothole. So I just called Mike Willis, city councilman, and they got it taken care of within a few days. So that people call me back to thank me for that. Was invited to a birthday celebration, and I had to tell this lady, Cornelia Sparks. She turned 100 years old. I want to say happy birthday to Cornelius. She is the sister of former JP Ted Staples. 100 years old, man.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome. At the expo, we had some issues with the subcontractors, the electrical team. They were breaking water lines. And I want to thank John and Gary for staying on top of that. I got in touch with the project manager at Victory, and they got all that cleared up now. So we shouldn't have any more water lines busted, hopefully. And then there's been an electrical issue out around the Ridgeway area, from Ridgeway, River Oaks, all the way up Ridgeway, across the highway around Americana Arms. They're having their lights are flickering, and then also they'll go out for a period of time and then come back on. It's been going on for weeks. And I got a hold of Albert Gaitan with Sam Pat, and he assured me they had crews out looking at every pole, trying to figure out what the problem was. And then he went to Victoria to buy some line fault indicators and then ordered a whole bunch more. So they were gonna get all those up and put on and hopefully figure out what's going on. It's been happening and customers are complaining left and right, you know. Just electrical has been off for so long, and then of course when they're paying for electricity, it's like, you know, you get all these, say, I'm gonna pay my bill, and, you know, but that should be cleared up. Albert did assure me that they did find a lot of things wrong that they did fix out there, so, but that, everything should be good again. With that, I will pass to my left.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I have a few just little snippets today, Judge.
Take all the time you need, sir.
Thank you, sir. I also went to the livestock show at the Coliseum, and one thing that you have to appreciate, anybody that went out there, it was raining, it was nasty. And you can tell these were farmers and ranchers out there, it didn't bother them a bit. The kids were slopping around in that mud having a good time. So, but it was really nasty, they did a great job, you folks did a fantastic job, very impressive. There's some drainage issues I think that the county needs to look at around that facility, and we'll, before the next one, hopefully we'll get those taken care of. Let's talk about the solar and wind farm north of Mineral. The solar farm realized that the grass is growing under the solar panels, so they contracted with a company that leases sheep. They brought in 600 sheep to put out there, and they started having predators working on the sheep. So they called in the cattle ranger and they called in the game warden. Okay. When they moved the sheep from one place to another, there were 100 sheep missing already. So we don't know where they went, what happened to them, but they're gone. So if you have some extra sheep on your place, give them a call. They probably want them back. But then they had a fire. Okay. They had a contractor out there, he sparked the fire, and there's brush and there's grass. Fire department shows up and they say, don't use water. What do you mean don't use water? Well, there's electricity, you have to use foam. Well, I don't think the Normanna, Pettis, the Toledo Fire Department have foam trucks. So we're working on that angle. The windmills, one thing that we were real proud of with the windmills is the lights only came on when there were aircraft in the area because of radar. Well, something is malfunctioned somewhere. I got several calls over the weekend. Those lights are staying on all the time. So I'll be getting in touch with Orsted this week to kind of say, okay, guys, what's going on? So I went by there over the weekend and the radar is turning, but something maybe is not working like it should. Those of you that are in the cattle business, cattle prices are way up. Historical perspective, I remember when I was a young boy, we got 30, 35 cents a pound for a calf. We felt like we were doing real good. Some were sold last week, $4.65 a pound. It's hard to believe. Packer, 72 cents a pound. 50 cents was good, 72 cents. But $3.65 a pound for a 200-pound calf. So you're beginning to talk some real money. Now, how that's going to translate into the grocery stores, I don't know. But the prices are up. Commissioner Oliveris and I are on a committee to meet with the rural transportation people. We have a meeting set up for Friday at 1:30 to talk about what they want to do with their state grant to get money to build a new facility. Highway department's supposed to be there, supposed to be a lot of people. Been attending several council of governments meetings in Corpus. It seems like about every other week, the judge and I are called down there for meetings. There's a lot going on. We're in the process of hiring a new executive director, and there's some other issues that have come up. And I'll end this with those of you that haven't thought about what this week is. The 14th is a special day. It's Valentine's Day. So your significant other, give them a big hug, give them a card, give them some candy, take them out to eat, but don't forget the 14th. And with that, Judge, I will pass.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Been a busy week around the courthouse. We've got if you look out here on the west side, they've got the pad poured for the generator already for the courthouse, and that was Ambi Construction, and they got that done this past week. The generator should be arriving by the end of the week, not hooked up, but just should be arriving. All right, so that one's up and coming already. Blanconia, I posted a couple of pictures on Facebook. They have the slab, they have steel, they have all three sides. They were working on the front where the 3 roll-up doors are gonna be, so we should have a building by the end of the week. So by the time they finish all the electrical and everything, then they can get the fire trucks over to that location. The tax office build, the offices where Craig is, they're complete. Now, we're working on the second part to this, because when we did all this build there, the electrical wasn't done correctly, and this was done years ago. It wasn't something that was created just now, so we're in the process of getting that fixed and getting it up to code, getting it corrected, and that's what we're working on at the tax office. I got a chance to participate in the candidate forum Tuesday, and that was well attended. Lots of people went out there. So that was something that got done there. We had several calls on the potholes. Folks, if you're out there listening, the potholes are getting taken care of as quickly as possible. We had 7 inches of rain last month, so there's a lot of potholes everywhere. But Road and Bridge is getting them as quickly as they can, and we'll get that done. Another issue that's come up here at the courthouse is the lighting is not working properly. I've got a hold of Smeckle Electric, and Waylon should program it, the lighting downstairs, but the bailiffs are informing me that there is not sufficient lighting in some of the areas. And I know that Mr. Cantu trimmed the trees around here where this new generator is going to be, because we had a theft there. Our lawnmower got relocated somewhere else in the county.
It's on loan.
It's on loan somewhere, so we don't know where it's at right now, but so we're trying to correct that problem. I don't know whether we're gonna need more lighting, more cameras. I don't know what we're gonna address it. Probably both.
You're talking about lighting, it's not working properly outside.
Yes, the lighting's not working properly outside, but a lot of that is programming issues. Some of that can be addressed by just reprogramming the lighting downstairs in the basement. And the rest of them, if we need additional lighting after they fix that, Ms. Salas or Mr. Pointer, would you please let us know, or draw up a little plan since we're lacking in this area. Maybe we can address those issues. Okay? That's my report.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start out with a little bit of recognition. I'd like to recognize our bailiffs here in light of, you just never know what could happen in the church or whatever, where you can have an active shooter walk in. So they're here to keep you safe, Judge. So I just want to recognize their efforts for being here. So it's a serious role. I don't think people realize that. I also like to recognize our own Christine Cano, who co-chaired the tax office expansion meeting, which was led by Commissioner Faitas. I provided a little bit of a coaching tour on how to help facilitate meeting facilitation techniques. But she took that little bit of a coaching and took it to the next level. She did an excellent job. She prepared a well-designed agenda. She established meeting rules that help us provide more structure to the meeting. And she also maintained the action item list, which is going to help us hold people accountable to meet their deliverables. So great job, Christina. Great job, Commissioner. Yes, sir. One of the key learnings from that meeting was the response time for information flow requested by our contractors. In any major project, this is a key, that when our subcontractors or contractors are requesting information from our engineering firm, that we ensure that we have a process in place to expedite that effort. So good key learning, and I think we have on target now to get some action taken. So thanks to you. Also this weekend, the Coastal Bend Community Supervision Correctional Department, which was led by our own Dora Hinkhouse. By the way, she's also one of our Skidmore ISD board members. Mallory Gardner and Mr. Jason Woods was the supervisor. And for people that don't know what this group does, their mission of this community supervision and correction department is to help influence positive change and accountability in the offender's behavior through the use of evidence-based practice consistent with the services directed by the court and in collaboration with agencies in the community. So for the past 3+ years, they've adopted the Corrigan Road cleanup in Skidmore, which is roughly about a 3-mile stretch of work. The team picked up more than 700 pounds of trash along this 3-mile stretch of Oregon Road. Excellent CSR credits are going to be provided to the participants that helped. I also participated in the event, and what was really great to see is several of the homeowners came out to thank us for their cleanup effort. So great job for everyone in trying to get Skidmore just a little bit cleaner. So really, really good job. As far as some general information, I attended the tax building update on some of these electrical challenges we have. Great feedback from everyone. As Commissioner was saying, this issue's been there for quite some time. Also attended a meeting with the GLO, Grant Works. We have a new grant work administrator, Lenore Hellman is our new grant administrator. We also had the B County Grant Administrator, Jen, was also present at this meeting to discuss the status of the Mid-Mod grant, which was very enlightening. GLO, who's funding the grant, they did a preliminary overview of the current application that we have in place, and then in a few weeks they're going to formally submit it to us, and we have roughly 5 days to respond back to them to give them the correct information. The good part for us, a lot of the information we had, but it provided some clarity on the information they needed in order for us to having the grant continue to move forward. So Jen, thanks for providing all the details and follow-up actions, so really, really appreciate that. During the heavy rains that we had last week, and I didn't realize there was 7, I knew we had a bunch.
Well, some of the areas,
Yeah.
the total amount of rainfall was like close to right.
Anyhow, what I was able to do, I actually drove around all the low-lying areas to see and inspect any potential floodings in the future that we might be able to do something about. Most of the flooding occurred in the low-lying areas or areas that just the water's just going to migrate to. So I don't know if there's a whole lot that can be done about it. I think it's just the way the geographics work in the county. So not a whole lot that can be done there. I've been working with our road administrator here to address a few issues concerning mainly with flooding, standing water in ditches, and then also some driveway issues. This week, I'm humbly honored to say that I was awarded the Mentor of the Month from the Barnhart Mentoring Program, which is an awesome program. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good. Awesome. You know, it's amazing, these kids that we're producing here at our local level. Just kids are great. You know, we're doing a great job educating these kids, and just got to figure out how we keep them here in the future. Also, going to be working here with John Izageta to help develop a detailed plan on repairing juvenile probation facilities. And then one last thing that I'm going to be working on here is we had a gentleman that the court awarded or granted, I guess, some property to him. He's trying to get a deed. We've been working on it for over a year. He just needs a piece of paper. He's ready to go pay his taxes, but he can't do it until that property gets it to his name. So I personally hand carried the documentation, but I'm not going to give up. We're going to get it through. He calls me once a week, and I have no good answers for him. So we're going to keep pushing forward with it. Upcoming meetings I have coming up this week, I'll be meeting with the appraisal district. They're having their board meeting on Wednesday. I'll be also trying to field some concerns, with our constraints. And while I'm trying to get better guidance from our appraisal district, kind of the appraisal process 101. I think I kind of know how it is, but sometimes there's some discrepancies. And when I think things are going one way, it goes a different way. Good news in Skidmore. Thanks to TechStop, we're starting to see some progress on a safety issue that we identified. So they're starting to put up some additional rumble strips and also some lighting, some signs, some striping, I think they call them bubble reflectors. So thanks TechStop, appreciate that effort. Will hopefully mitigate some of the accidents that are occurring at that location. Also continue working with the auditors team on lighting in precinct 4. In addition to that, we're making small steps in Tyna to get some lightings up. So I was instructed this past week to tie a yellow ribbon around the light pole so that AEP knows which pole to go. I then found out AEP went and took my yellow ribbon off, so I thank the two entities within AEP probably need to communicate a little bit, so I'm gonna reach out to them today. Do they want me to go put out another yellow ribbon so they know which poles to fix? So, kind of funny, but the great news is we're getting lights up in Tyner, which has been well over 20 years since they had a light pole up. I mean, the lights are there, they're just not working, and it's amazing. But we'll get there. I did conduct a survey with the new water facilities. Great job. People should be appreciative of the ability for us to get water. Still having some issues around different things, around pumps and around old pipelines that were put in place. We're starting to have a lot of leaks just because apparently the way they were put in, age, all those things are coming about. But they're continuing to work on those. In Papalote, I was able to sit down with one of the landowners and kind of bring him up to date what's happening with the Silver Creek Bridge. Very, very informative. He spent a lot of time with him, gave him a lot of history about the Silver Creek Bridge and challenges that they're having, and also how he's actually brought up some creative ideas on what could be done in the future. So, real thankful that the residents are reaching out to me to share some of their concerns and share that information with me, and I assure you all those items are being worked on. So, thank you very much. Judge?
Thank you, Commissioner Olivares. Thank you to all our commissioners for your comments this morning. Was it not, wasn't there an old song that was Tie a Yellow Ribbon?
I sung it the whole way down to
Now it's
Tyner.
gonna be in my ear, but all I know is that Fred Rest, Tie a Yellow Ribbon around the old oak tree. Yeah, but that's all I know about it. Is that when you have it on play, your Spotify account? B County Junior Livestock Show and Rodeo. Folks, it's not too late if you missed the sale. If you're eager or interested in supporting one exhibitor or maybe some random exhibitors, you can get both the list of the projects, the children who made the sale, as well as something called an add-on ticket from our Ag Extension office. It's not available online. You can get both of those just by going to the B County website?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can go to the B County website, go to our Ag Extension link to their page, and they'll have a list of they have a document that'll have the list of the winners and how many lots sold. 180, is it 181, 183?
181 with the adult division at the last one.
Okay, in the adult division, any donation to the adult division goes directly to our premium, or no, scholarship. Okay, goes directly to the scholarship fund, so those dollars go directly to scholarships awarded to the youth of B County. But add-ons is a great way to show your support for individual exhibitors, to give them a little extra congratulations for their hard work and their success at the sale. You can add on through what the 28th of this month. Yes, sir. Thank you, through the 28th of February. So continue to support, and thank you to everybody who did financially support or support through their volunteerism and their efforts to put this event on. It was excellent. I think that's about it. We're going to move on with public comment. Agenda item number 6. Are there any members of the public who wish to address Commissioner's Court? But yes, ma'am. Come on down, Mrs. Shower. Identify yourself for the record.
Randy Shower from the Extension Office in B County. Good morning, gentlemen, and I just want to say thank you for letting me be here today. First off, I am in charge. I'm the committee head chair for the logistics committee for the PCJ LHS. What that does is I am in charge of running the sale on Saturday, the premium sale. And I just want to start off by saying thank you to all of our volunteers, thank you to all of our buyers, and John Parkman did an amazing job at getting all of our IT stuff set up. That is not in my guidebook, and so I thank him very, very much. All of the maintenance crew, Mr. Izagiri, they always really help out a lot. Commissioner Linney, thank you for being there, and everyone else on the board, on the BCJLHS board. A lot of hours go into this week, a lot of hours, and a lot of planning, and we could not do it without all our volunteers, as well as the people that donate to make this possible. A lot of our stuff is sponsored from people through the community, And I just want to say thank you to that. I don't have I know I like to give a brief what all we brought in. Since add-ons are still being taken, it will not be completely accurate, but like Commissioner Freya said, 28th is the deadline to do an add-on. You can do add-ons after that, you're just not guaranteed a thank you note from the kid, but we will never say no to your money. And I think so far we have brought in a little under 900,000. It was sitting at 862. And that is for commercial heifers, the public bake sale, as well as the premium sale on that Saturday. This year we had a very large commercial heifer sale of 32 pins. That is probably one of the largest ones we've ever had. And the kids did great at showing those, and we had a very nice turnout. We are very thankful for the buyers that came out with the economy the way it is, and businesses kind of struggling a little bit. People still showed up, and we're very, very thankful. If you are interested in wanting to get more involved in the BCJLHS board or volunteering or monetary, whatever way you see fit, we are having our next annual meeting on the 26th at 6 o'clock. This is our kind of our big meeting of the year. We go over board members, elections, officer elections, kind of a brief overview of how we think the sale went, what can we work on better for next year. And for those of you that were there or have maybe input, we'd love to hear it. And that's going to be at Blue Ribbon at 6 o'clock on the 26th. Other than that, on a different note, through FCH, Family Community Health at my office, I am looking to start a community garden. And this will be open for the entire community. I'm hoping to make some partnerships through some schools around the area. I've got a few that are interested. I'm looking for volunteers to help. We had a very, very successful Master Gardeners program at one time. I'm hoping that this will get this going again in the right direction. Right now, I'm looking to do this at the Methodist Church. They already have the water hookup. I just didn't get the water turned back on. So if anyone is interested or likes to garden or wants to help out in any way, please call me at the Extension office. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw.
Thank y'all.
I think Commissioner Fidias was volunteering you for tilling community garden. Commissioner DeWitt is volunteering you to create some predator barriers. Absolutely.
You help me, I help you.
Who knew that public comment would cause the cohesiveness of this board to
Yeah, but all of you doubt.
asunder?
All of you, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other members of the public? Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Warnix, please come up, identify yourself. You have the floor.
Laura Warnix, Elections Administrator. I just want to remind the court and our visitors and those that are listening that early voting starts February the 20th. That's a Tuesday. Tuesday through Friday of that week will be 8 to 5. That Saturday will be 7 to 7, and on Sunday 10 to 4. The last week of early voting, we will be 7 to 7 the entire week. So we will be there for you. I also want to remind you, if you need to apply for ballot by mail, February the 23rd is the last day for us to receive that application. And if you are voting by mail, please do not trust your ballot to anyone but a loved one. They should send it back for you if you are unable to do that yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warnix. I appreciate you. When is the primary, March primary?
March 5th.
March 5th, all day, 7 a.m. to
7 p.m. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Tuesday, March 5th.
And if anybody is concerned, anybody in the community, and I'm sorry, I'm really glad you spoke. I meant to say something during public comment, or during my comments. If anybody may be concerned, is my voting correct? Can they call your office?
Yes, sir.
And just make sure that everything's straight and they know what to do and where to go?
Yes, sir. 361-621-1519.
361-621-1519. And let's hope it's a really good turnout. Democracy works when we all do our part. And most of us, our part is voting and engaging. So thank you. Thank you, Ms. Warnix.
Welcome,
It's
sir.
going to be a big one. Any other members of the public wish to address Commissioners Court? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 7.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
If you're on the agenda, is that now or later?
We'll do it later.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll get you there in time. Okay, agenda item number 7. The following items are of an administrative nature. Commissioners Court has been furnished documentation on each item, and all such items may be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a commissioner or county judge. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Good job, Commissioner Olivares. Getting on. You gotta
No,
be quick.
no,
Yeah. How's it going? All right. Was it?
Before you use that word, I know to jump in.
What's the old game show? The no whammies. We had to hit that button. What's that? Yeah. All right. Anyway, any further discussion besides that elucidating comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. We're off to the races. Discuss and consider action on the following items. Agenda item number 8, approve expo request for auditorium fee waiver for St. James Church Bingo on May 5th, 2024. I've got a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I think this is great. I think the St. James Church Bingo has been really blowing up the last couple of years. So if you're interested, reach out to the church, get involved. I know they're raising a lot of money to repair their what do you call it, parish hall. I think the parish halls they're still working on, so they've been doing a great job.
Second time that you've used it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, last year I think was the first time they came. But they did. I mean, it was a big turnout. So no further discussion. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 9, approve Texas Association of Counties County Information Resources Agency Services Agreements. Yes.
I do have some comments.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Commissioner Olivares, you have the floor, sir.
So, yeah, Judge, thank you. So, thanks to Lombard for educating me a little bit as far as the overall process. And looking into this, I understand, that the property went to a tax sale, was secured, then the individual has an opportunity to come back and secure it. And now, looking at some of the documentation, I just have, I guess I'm seeking a little
Wait,
bit.
you're on agenda item number 10. We're on agenda item number 9. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you earlier.
Okay.
This is about the, tax association.
Oh, tax, okay, yes. I retract that.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Moving on to agenda item number 10. Approve offers to purchase tax sale property, suit number B-17-3054-0-TX-B, et al., account number 12497, and suit number B-21-3068-0-TX-B, et al., account number 5180000009020000000.
Take a second.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a motion and a second? Commissioner Olivares.
I do have a comment. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, gentlemen. Sorry about it, jumped the gun there. You got me so fired up here, so
That's
I
great.
don't want to
No.
miss anything. So, in light of looking at the bigger picture and understanding how exactly this whole process works, and then also, how do we generate more income to the county so that we can do some better things as, Commissioner DeWitt is trying to bring forward to raise the minimum limos up. Now, how do we raise that? So now, in looking at this tax sale, I believe I understand, how the process works on, but the official tax sale goes out, no one bids on the property because the value is too high. After the tax sale, an individual has the ability to come back and place a bid. On this particular one that I'm looking at here, Judge, I won't read off all the numbers, but the property is located at 111 South St. Mary Street. Now, when you look at the values that the property is currently being appraised at, and then the individual, which I think the person's going to be making a great deal of $1,000. So the current value of the property was appraised at roughly $50,000. He's going to be purchasing this property for $1,000. Just the land itself has a much greater value than that. And looking at doing a little bit of a research, one of the things I found was a parcel ID that shows up on our documentation, shows up at parcel number 6122. But when you look up the information on the tax rolls, that parcel number has a different address. The numbers are pretty close to the same, the address is the same, but the parcel numbers are different. So my question is, I start to wonder, is the information that the property went for sale, is it the St. Mary Street or is it the Catherine Street? So are the numbers get crossed over, don't it? So anyhow, without elaborating too much, I would like to understand a little bit better this whole process, because it makes me wonder that if we can secure additional funding to the county, we can meet some of our obligations, for helping with the raise and so forth. And just trying to make sure we're all on the same level playing field, that, that the appraisals are being done correct. You might ask, why do I bring this up? I've been getting a lot of calls from people within my precinct questioning the appraisal values. Are they real or they're not real? They protested and the values come down. So I start to wonder, with all that going on, that at the time of the sale, if the appraisal value was done properly, it may have given an opportunity to sell it at a lower value, but yet higher than $1,000. So it's a win-win for both the individual and also the county. So there's a lot of mechanics going into this that I'm trying to wrap my arms around exactly how does this work, and are we doing the right thing for the county? Granted, I totally understand, we want to get this property back on the books so we can start collecting some revenue. But, we could have made a little money along the way too. So got some questions, just trying to understand the big picture. So I'm going to be looking at some directions, Steve, if you can help me later to understand, or maybe address some of this now.
Actually, Mr. Sosay, come on up. Glad you got us. Say we're in good hands. We have the best
Yes, we do.
teacher with us here this morning. I'm sure he's prepared to give us a Taxo 101.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Stephen Salcedo with Linebarger Attorneys at Law. Commissioner, and if I don't address your specific question, please ask me again. Make sure I understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
In regard to this specific property, the one that was currently valued at $47,000, correct?
Mm-hmm.
$47,890. Is that the one we're talking about?
That's correct.
Okay. If you look down on the bid sheet, I believe every commissioner and judge, you should have a copy of the address of the property as well as the amount of the bid and how much the entities will receive. If you look at the amount due to all entities, it was a little over $25,000. And then the value is 47. I'm just going to round. Whenever it goes to tax sale on the initial tax sale, it has to go for the lesser of the two values. Either the amount of the taxes that are due or the value, whichever is lower. So this one went to sale for the $25,000. Now, nobody bought it at that amount, so that's when it gets struck off to the county who owns it as trustee, and that's, Commissioner, you're exactly right. That's when anybody can come in and submit a bid, and that bid before you today is $1,175. And we don't have a position whether that's adequate or not, and we defer to you on that. You're the sole decider whether to accept this bid or not. Just as a general caveat, we do say most of our clients like to get things back on the roll, but there could be a case where you believe the bid's too low, and that's certainly your discretion.
Yeah, that's part of the question when I started looking, because these values, gentlemen, were assessed back in 2021. The current value of the property currently now is like $72,000.
Just a question, have you gone and actually physically looked at the property?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And it's pretty much a tear down. There could be some things that you could salvage, but yes, it did.
Sometimes they make it on the tax roll, I've seen before, because they either left behind when there's both the parents die or the children don't want it, and they just, forget it. Nobody ever protested it. Nobody ever went to the appraisal and filed a complaint or ARV. And a lot of these things just get left behind for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why you see it up here, or probably 10 years ago, it should have been brought back down to here. And that's why it's left behind.
If I may comment, a lot of times, for example, for this one, you see it's over $25,000 in taxes due. Quite a few of these have an over 65 deferral in your area where people have taken advantage at the appraisal district. They've applied for that deferral. That means the taxes continue to accrue as long as they're alive, and once they pass, it all becomes due. And that's probably what happened here. That's probably why it's so high.
Yeah, the only thing I'm looking at, is there a missed opportunity here that we could have got a few more dollars for this piece of property? I mean, it's a pretty good sized piece of property. House is a tear down, but yet if you look, if the house was a tear down in 2021, it was assessed at $43,000. So, the assessment could be wrong. Don't know. Some of the mechanics I'm trying to understand. So if that's the case, then, when people are looking to bid on this property, they're seeing this assessment, it could skew the numbers a little bit. Just trying to see, is there an opportunity for the county to raise a few extra dollars so that it can help address some of the other issues? And that's all I'm really asking.
Well, Mr. Salcedo, if the county, as the trustee owner of the property, wanted to set a floor on bid price on any of these properties that didn't sell at auction, is that something that we're allowed to do under the law, or could we market these properties for sale, or is this sort of a blind process that is just how it has to go?
So, at the initial sell, that minimum floor is set by law. And that's the amount that we advertise for everyone in the paper. So the question is, after nobody buys it at that initial amount and it's struck off, can you set a minimum? After a certain amount of time, you could. At first, if anybody comes in to give a bid, like for example this one, if that bid is less than what you would have received on the courthouse steps, it requires your authorization and the authorization of every other taxing unit who's a party. If you wanted to make a blanket rule as to a percentage of a minimum floor, for example, you say, think this is too low, there's two ways you could do it. You can just decide when I bring it to you that this is too low and you could reject the bid. We would tell the person you need to resubmit a bid, put something higher. Or 6 months after the owner's right of redemption expires, it's possible that we could have a discussion as to, we want to now accept things for a lower amount, a blanket rule like 50% or something like that.
Is this within the 6-month period? Oh, I guess August 1, 2023 is.
Probably not.
Okay.
No,
that's a good point.
the redemption period is still running.
Mr. Salcedo, on the 6-month redemption period, that's on just a piece of property. But if it's got a homestead exemption,
2 years.
It goes
2 years.
2 years, goes 24 months.
Would you explain that a little further for folks that aren't familiar with that? In other words, I buy the property, but I really don't own it
Correct.
until that period of time is elapsed. Would you explain that a little more so people understand that?
Yes, so all the owners who we foreclose on have a right to redeem the property from the county if it gets struck off. So their rights aren't completely terminated until the right of redemption, a statutory right of redemption. What that means, you have a certain amount of time to come back and get your tax foreclosed property. If it's just a plain old lot, it's 6 months from the date the deed is filed of record. So we'll say the tax sale was here in August. I'm going to guess the deed was filed in January, something like that. Then 6 months from that date, you could still go forward and try to redeem the property. You have to sell it back to them. There's a provision on that.
Now, the reason that's important, okay, I buy this piece of property, I go and I improve the heck out of it, and then you come up and say, okay, I want my property back, and all I get is what I paid for it. That's it.
Right.
And the improvements are gone.
That could be the case. We always tell people if you buy it, don't improve upon it until after the right of redemption expires, and that right of redemption, you're right, Commissioner, depends on what type of property it is. Now, if they do have to pay a premium, 25 or 50% on top of whatever to redeem it, but they don't have to cover any unnecessary improvements. So if you had to patch the hole in the roof to keep it from raining, they probably have to pay you back for that. If you tear down the house and build a palace, they're not going to have to pay you back for that.
That's where I was going. Be careful.
Yes.
Be careful.
You're right, Commissioner.
And just to play devil's advocate, Commissioner, because like I said before the meeting, I never enjoy seeing things. I haven't since I've been in public office in this county, regardless of the taxing entity, and they pop up, once every year or two. But if this is like, for instance, this property, single family home, you've got somebody who is interested in, taking it on, they're gonna buy it. So obviously hopefully they have plans for it that would include renovating the property, making it look better, which is good for the community. And I think that's ultimately where most boards kind of fall down on it as well. Yeah, we don't like it. It's not a good deal, but the person who failed to pay the taxes, they're not really winning. They lost their property. That's terrible. Their family lost their property. The entities, the taxing entities, they're not really losing. They are losing out on some money that they haven't received for past tax years that have already closed. So it's a loss that's not really felt or realized. And we get the prospect of, a renewed property that maybe its real value is $150,000 that we're going to get back onto the tax roll, and it improves our community. And then the buyers, not really, they're winning. They are winning. It's a great win, but it's a win that comes with another really big price tag. So if they are going to come back in and renovate it and put the time and effort, I think we would probably, when I'm weighing the equities, I probably want to encourage that type of activity in the community. I want to support those that want to, invest their own money in the community to try to make it better. And I guess we can just hope that that's the case with each sale that goes through. That's kind of, but it's a really good point, because you see these numbers, and this is actually one of the largest numbers I've ever seen. $1,000. Usually it's $500, $300. I've seen $100 bids when I was at the community college.
And that's a little bit different. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Judge, because the other thing, it also shifts that liability from the county on back to the landowner. In the event that something happens or someone goes and runs the house down, gets hurt or whatever, I think the county, I'm assuming the property liability is there as well. So yeah, I totally understand that. I guess I'm just trying to understand the overall process. Is the county missing an opportunity of gaining a little bit more revenue? Don't know. Don't know the mechanics. We probably need to get with the offline so we don't tie the cord up. Just to understand the mechanics in this big machine. And this is only one of maybe many properties. So when you start adding up the sums of all these dollars, we could get to your goal, Commissioner.
Yeah. But if I can interject something, I know that Lambarger, I've sat with them a few years back. They said, I think, 10 notices. There's 10
the process is good.
Yes,
Yeah.
throughout the year.
Throughout the year, just trying to get these people to understand and realize what's going to happen. So on their part, I'm, kudos to them. I mean, they give them lots of opportunities to come back to the board.
No, I'm just trying to understand, not challenging the process. When you start looking at the challenge we're having with the appraisals, are they correct? And you start looking at the overall values, when it does go for sale, if you can make it a little bit more affordable, whoever's buying it, there's an opportunity not only for the buyer, but also for the county to take on a few more dollars. And that's really where I'm coming from with this agenda item.
I'd be interested to see if there's any, what sort of practical opportunity or avenue there might be. I know that, I think Linebarger has, y'all market properties on your website.
Yes, we market these statewide. They're on our website. We also market them in the paper. We also have a group of usual buyers that come to your tax sale that are aware of everything that goes up. So everything that you see before you would have gone through that process before it got to you, but nobody bought it on the courthouse steps. Because in this particular case, the amount of taxes were so high, the minimum bid was more than the property value of the property. To tear down house on it right now. So whoever buys it will have to tear it down.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salcedo. Mr. Olivas?
No, and I think I look forward to the judge, and I'm sure that we need to make a motion that if it's okay that I could meet with him offline.
Oh, no, we don't need a motion for that. You can do that anytime you want.
Just to understand him, we're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
That's my big drive.
Okay, thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Salcedo,
Thank you.
for your presence and your time this morning. And that was good discussion. I appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner Olivas. questions? Moving on to agenda item number 11, approved Dynamark camera quote for the courthouse camera system update.
I moved to approve, Judge, but we have a couple of different proposals to look at.
I guess that's right. I guess it's not good for me to just be silent and ask for a motion. You want to withdraw that?
Yes, because
Okay.
we need to look at.
Deputy
find out
Pointer,
what-
Deputy Salas, you want to come up? And thank you, Mr. Salcedo. And give us a summary of the two options.
Thank you.
Our current camera system, the cameras are 1080, which is essentially 2.1 megapixels. One of the quotes is for 5 megapixels inside and 4K outside. 4K is equivalent to 8 megapixels. The little bit higher one is for 4K throughout the building, inside and out.
We are requesting the 4K.
I understand. The gentleman that borrowed our lawn equipment, did we see who it was, or
No.
do we get better megapixels there?
In the
Did I
past,
say that right?
in the past 2 weeks, we've had several incidents here at the courthouse. We had an individual drive through the lawn. We can tell you it's a truck. That's all we can tell you. We had a theft, and then we had someone borrow the lawnmower. So we've had all that within the past 2 weeks. Viewing at cameras, you can make out it's a man. He's got big ears, short hair,
Hey, now.
and that's all I can tell you.
Go to.
And a goatee.
Yeah.
We zoom in, everything's blurred.
All of
There's not a
our,
way to enhance that picture or anything? No.
It becomes blurred.
not at 2.1 megapixels.
Do we need to change anything else?
The entire system's getting changed, including the DVR. We're going from two
That's the
16-channel DVRs to one 32-channel with, can't remember, 5 or 7 terabyte storage.
So the all 5K option is bid at $16,782, and the 5K 4K option is bid at $15,242.
No, the 5 megapixel 4K, yeah.
16, 4K.
Oh, 4K. That's the one they want.
That's the one that will do your job the best.
Yes.
You recommend that?
Is there anything better?
Yeah, but it's a lot more expensive. They have, I talked to them a little bit about some 5K camera system, but they're considerably more than the
But
4K.
the reason I'm asking, because I hear what you're saying on, security cameras, and me personally would like to be able to see the ring that they have on the finger.
And you're not going, they don't make a camera like that. You're not gonna be able to zoom in on a license plate or
That's TV
any of
stuff.
that stuff.
It's TV? Okay.
TV stuff.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, there's no satellite that we can, zoom in and get the license plate off of the vehicle traveling 50
So the
miles an hour.
proposal, this is the best.
The 4K right now is the newest equipment. Our equipment's 10-ish years old, and for anything electronic, that's
So
way bad old.
Do we get anything for the old equipment?
What's the difference between the two quotes? Like why they're all 4K cameras?
Well, the 16 is all 4K, inside and outside. We have 30 cameras in the courthouse.
Okay.
Oh, so they're talking about the.
And then
Outside.
the other one is.
A little bit lower was 4K outside and 5 megapixel inside.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, I was reading off this quote. We're looking at the 32-channel DVR,
Mm-hmm,
30 4K dome cameras,
mm-hmm.
30 camera back box,
Weather boxes.
weather boxes, one 16-channel power supply, 64 two-piece crimp connectors, network access. The total on that with labor and all was 16,782. Is that the one that you will
Yes,
do the job the best for you?
Yes.
That's the best cameras.
That is my motion. Good.
I have a motion. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion, Commissioner Filios?
When, say that the power goes off and generator comes on, the generator, is there something that might hurt these cameras if they go to generator?
It's the same now when we have a power outage. And
Battery backup.
Not backup, I guess, it's when they turn back on, when they surge, or nothing will.
they shouldn't,
damage?
I mean, no.
I'm good with
It
that.
should be just, and actually, we get to use all the current wire. The 4K cameras use everything we already have. So it's a matter of replacing the camera and the DVR.
There's a rule in the courtroom, you should never ask a question you don't know the answer to, but this is a commissioner's courtroom, it's a little bit different. Did you coordinate at all with IT and discuss, and I know we've got.
I asked,
Yes.
I asked John about it's a plug and play. We're gonna unplug the old one and plug the new one in.
Craig, do you have any input on this at all, not to put you on the
The
spot?
only thing I'm concerned with is instead of megapixels, I mean, it does give you a higher resolution, but if you're trying to zoom in, that's a digital zoom, so it's always gonna pixelate at some point. So on those types of cameras where you're concerned about where you need to zoom in on, I would look at cameras that not only have digital zoom, but also have an optical zoom. Your optical zoom is going to give you the best resolution zooming in before it goes to digital.
Did y'all look at that? Is that the,
Our current one has a digital zoom, but it doesn't have the pixels to do it.
yeah,
Yeah, but pixelation is, all you're doing is creating a wider desktop. When you're zooming into something, it's always going to
the little
pixelate at
dots
a
are gonna
certain
spread
point.
apart, yeah.
Craig, is there a
It
big
will be
difference?
clearer with a higher resolution to a point, but a simple 6 to 8 times zoom camera can give you a much clearer picture, where you're zooming into than a digital zoom can.
Is there a big difference in price, Craig? We'll get that.
There is a difference in price, but it's nominal when you're considering this type of replacement.
It might be something that we table this and take a look at that, because I'm in the position, I think the court is, we want you to have the very best that's gonna do your job.
And what I think Craig's looking at is when you're zooming in with the camera. We're not gonna be doing that. We're gonna be going off of a playback from what the camera originally recorded.
Does that make a difference then? I guess
Well,
you have
we're
the
not-
optical
If
zoom
it's
so you gotta-
stationary only,
Yeah.
it could be, but these cameras are more intelligent than that. I mean, if you have a situation, you can also program them when activity is in the area at specific times or other things, that it will zoom in automatically. And there is facial tracking, vehicle tracking, license plate tracking, and this is all almost standard technology today in the video security industry.
What do you guys think?
It's open, so what do you,
You're thinking the dollar sign's gonna be exponential, or what do you?
I'm thinking that's not unnecessarily needy, because we're gonna catch you coming in, if something happens in the courthouse, we're gonna catch you on camera. We will have a facial view, because everywhere you look, those are cameras. We're gonna catch you at the entrance door, we're gonna catch you inside a room, or coming from a different angle, we're gonna catch you coming out. I don't think we need the camera to move. I think the stationary works best because it does cover a wide area. So if we need to zoom to a certain area, we're able to do that. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Point
just a
of my
little
IT guy, so-
clarification. Yeah, I guess whether it's stationary or not, I guess the concern that, our IT director was bringing up, whether it's stationary or not, is the ability to go in and zoom in. Okay, this guy just came in, he's got big ears and a beard. Can I see him a little bit better? Can I make out who that is, even if it's stationary? Is that correct, sir? Can you still do that, or it's got to be?
You can still view that, yes.
And I also think
Go to
that.
chief, I just let him out this morning.
Oh,
Also, I
that's so
think
great.
that lighting plays a role in it.
Yeah.
The incident where they borrowed a lawnmower, was at 1:51 in the morning? It's pitch black,
Yeah.
it's dark. There was no light when they drove down Washington.
Do these outside cameras, do they gather light? The new ones that y'all?
They're, at night they're IR.
All we could see was,
They're like
Bright
black
light.
and white at night.
Chief Deputy?
But that's my suggestion as well, on the outdoor cameras especially. If it's a PTZ camera, like I said, it does have facial tracking, vehicle tracking, license plate tracking. If it breaks a certain programmed field, it can actually zoom in and track what's going on in that field. And if there's low light, you would want to look at a camera that has a higher amount of LEDs out there to be able to capture clear in dark areas, so.
Craig, in your opinion, there, for a few bucks more, is there an advantage here?
Could be. I mean, if we're losing like lawnmowers and things like that.
I think we've moved where we store stuff now. Chief Deputy, do you have any?
Don't have, Andy and Tanya have been working on this. I have to deal with the jail, and they're doing a great job with this. The jail and the security system is sort of a nightmare. But I can tell you, a stationary camera and a PTZ camera are exponentially different from each other in price. The more you go up, the more it goes up. Programming, we have programming in our software now, it's software, and getting the people down here, and it's a nightmare. We have tracking, and you'll see it tracking. Nobody knows how to do anything with the tracking. How to turn it off, how to put it on. I think the most important things with the new camera system would be the megapixels and the low lighting infrared. That would be very important. The ability to not pixelate once you zoom in. Now, you get the stationary camera, our stationary cameras do pixelate. If you buy a little more expensive camera, it doesn't have to be PTZ. DR, they run the camera in price. They really do. PTC cameras can be thousands of dollars at least. The stationary with everything we need, and I'm sorry they've been hanging on this. I had no experience with what you're talking about at this point.
I know you guys put a lot of time and effort into this, so I appreciate the work. And still y'all's, if the Commissioner's Court is desirous of potentially seeing if we have additional funds to buy fancier cameras, is that something that y'all would be interested in, or, as the stewards of safety here at the courthouse grounds, do you feel very comfortable that this proposal that we have a motion pending on, the $16,000 proposal, that it'll adequately provide you the resources that you need, so even the next time somebody accidentally drives over the courthouse grounds, we'll be able to identify who they are. I guess that's the bottom line.
Well, we'd be able to at least get a description of the vehicle instead of, we know it was a truck.
Yeah, I know.
And the proposed system is coming with a new updated DVR, and I'm sure we're gonna have to change the viewing program, which will also be updated, because the program we're using is rather old.
How many outside cameras do we have?
8.
8?
Was it 8? I think it was, it's 22 inside and 8 outside.
I hate to almost sound flippant with county funds, but these cameras are, this quote is at $295 a piece. If we move forward with this quote and go ahead and get this new system installed, and then we come back and we're like, maybe on the front we might want to upgrade one of those cameras to a PTZ camera, whether it costs, $500 or $1,000 or $1,500. We can go back in and plug and play. Is that your understanding, or?
My understanding, when I talked to Dynamart, all of our current wiring will work with the 4K camera. They don't have to run any new coax cable, no new power wires, because they all have a coax and a power supply to run to each camera.
Do you know if we wanted to come back at a future date with a PTZ camera, if the existing wiring would work or not?
I don't know.
And these cameras you're looking at, are they pretty high end?
They're not the highest end, but they're, like I say, we're running 1080s, which are 2.1 megapixel, and the 4K are 8 megapixel. So it's pretty
More
much.
of a curiosity, the items that were stolen, had to put a value in the lawnmowers and the weed eaters and all that stuff. How much?
The mowers, $5 grand.
$4 grand. Yeah, and then the extra.
The title, the question or the statement that was made about a little more high-end camera, can we get a little higher-end camera and plug and play? And I mean, we just want to do this one time and last 5 or 6 years, and they're coming down.
Well, I could look into it. From my understanding, Dynamart, they only have one camera above the 4K,
Okay.
and that's a 5K, so you're not talking about a lot of megapixels.
Well, that's
It's
a good
a-
point. Do they
it's a
have
con-
PTZ cameras?
It's a completely different type of animal from what the guys explained.
Do we need to add any cameras? You've got 8 outside, do we need 10? I mean,
Change the bid.
Well, we would only have room for 2 more,
well,
but that,
If you ask me, I'm gonna say yes.
I'm sorry.
If you ask me, I'm gonna say yes. We need one right over this door over here, facing that way.
And you've got room for 2 more.
But that's the only one outside that we do have a blind spot, which is right here at the
They could come-
pavilion area right
So
there.
they could come back with that as a separate proposal, because we're pretty much locked
yeah,
into this.
yeah. That's something we could always add later, because we will have 2 open channels.
Like, if we,
But that would be considerable more cost, because they're gonna have to run cable and run power supply.
but if we need it, we need it. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Well, once we get the new camera, I can look, 'cause this one camera does shine that way.
Because we've got a new multi-$1,000 generator going in, we need to protect.
And there's a camera directly on it. Actually, you can see it from 2 different cameras.
Business can't say how much flexibility do we have, for aspirations versus, what we can't afford.
It would depend on what the court wants to spend. You have a line item that this LIT would be coming out of, so it would depend on what the court wants to spend.
Yeah, a little flexibility.
A little bit, that's true.
Would y'all mind going back and maybe finding out some additional information along the lines with what we've discussed this morning?
We can call Dynamart and see
I
what
mean,
they
I know,
have.
yeah, it's an unfair question for me to ask if you would mind, but in your opinion, do you think it's worthwhile, or, do you know what the turnaround time is if we were to approve today? Did Dynamart give you an installation?
They said once they get the signing paperwork approval, so they can notify them and they would start getting everything together. That's the most that they told me.
Just one question, Joe. I think as an overall, I think if the court had some options, granted, we know it costs a lot more. Well, how much is a lot more? Is that $1,000, $2,000? Don't know. And that would give the court some options to say, okay, yeah, we thought we could get a better camera, but the price is so high, it just really doesn't make a justification to do that. And the original proposal was correct. But without that information, I think that's what we're all trying to draw from. I think we're all in favor of it, that's without a doubt. I think we need to protect our county's assets. We just want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
I hate not to go ahead and approve this and get this in the works, and then you come back to us with the 2 additional cameras and that price. Hesitation could cost us more than when they get this done.
But you said that the only camera they have is the 5K. It's next above what you guys are looking at right now. So if you have to get into a much higher quality camera, then is the wiring and everything going to be compatible to use? You have to then do all new wiring and be a huge cost.
And I don't have that answer. The gentleman I spoke to seemed to think the 4K for what we currently have was the best option.
Great comment there. Again, if we had that overall cost to look at the upper, the lower, and the middle, what the best thing.
We have a few more items on the agenda. Can you possibly go call and talk to them and come back to us while we're still meeting today with some information? We might can make a decision.
Okay.
Judge,
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. No, it's fine. Yeah, why don't you guys do that?
Okay.
And we'll move on, and I'll bring you guys back at the end of the agenda.
All right.
It's a good idea, thank you, Commissioner.
I'll work on my motion.
It's okay, yeah, just leave it in place.
Okay.
We're still discussing.
Good.
Okay.
But have in mind that we are in agreement to
Yeah.
get this one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Oliver, would you maybe mind joining them? And would you mind joining the bailiffs and just providing some insight? Appreciate your expertise. Okay, so we're going to move on. We'll come back to agenda item number 11 here after a little bit. Oh, thank you. Got it done? Oh, come on now, Dolores. That's hard commentary. Okay, I'm sorry. Moving on, agenda item number 12, approve resolution adopting the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, B County, Texas, multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan and appointment of the county judge as the chief executive officer and authorized representative. Mr. Garza, is there anything to present on this one, sir?
No, morning, Ryan Garza, Emergency Manager of B County and City. This is just our 5-year update. We're required by FEMA to have a plan identifying our vulnerabilities, and they finally finished it. And it is ready for y'all's signatures.
It's been a long process.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for staying on top of it. I don't believe I entertained a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Garza. Thank you, Mr. Two. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion passes without exception. Moving on, agenda item number 13, progress and update on the Tynan Water Project. Would you like to speak now, sir? Come on up. Please identify yourself for the record. Hopefully it's all good news you got for us.
It is. Steve Cheney, President of the Tynan Water Board. Number one, I'm here with my hat in hand to tell you guys thank you. My goodness, most of the public doesn't get to come in and sit and witness what you do. And, you know, Commissioner Lenny has his issues and broke down water systems and people screaming. Commissioner DeWitt, I know, I've seen you and I have to call you Sammy because I love to eat at your place. And,
Free advertising.
Yeah, but anyway, as I put my roots down here, because I come from another area, and start trying to plug in and see where we can help, I run into Commissioner Lenny while I was changing my voter registration. It's nice to see you guys out in the public. I'm probably going to regret this in one day and owe him, but Commissioner Olivares, or as we call it, Tino, our money man, he has been instrumentally coming down and helping us basically take what is a forgotten colonia and try to bring it up to speed. Thank you, Tino. He has helped with, and I hope you don't mind me calling you by your first name in court. We've had problems with DOT getting lighting down there, and I hope you guys can jump in if you know of anything we can do. We tried to put pressure on TxDOT, and we don't even get the unofficial brush off. We get the drive-through, and we've met with him. He sat in on the meeting, and yes, we're gonna get something done, but we need to have a 10-year traffic study, and those are my words. Or we need to have a 25-year upgraded plan. I've never run into so much horse crap in my life. You know, we've got grain trucks turning in and out of there. The Settler family made about I'm gonna say a $4 million investment there. With the grain elevator, the new building and stuff. We've got trucks turning in and out of there. There's people are just flying through like a bat out of hell. We've already had some incidences there. I know that's not y'all's responsibility, but if you know how to put some heat on, we would welcome it. AFS, or who are the electrical people, AES. We've met with them, had a work order since October, and we still don't have lights. That intersection is just as dead as it can be. My understanding is the county's responsibility stops at 359 and TxDOT picks it up. I know we've met with Tino 3, 4, 5 times. His research has been instrumental in me knowing where to go and more or less be a horse's behind to try to get something done. I've never in my life seen government so inefficient, you know. My hat's off to y'all. Y'all receive a B plus, and everybody else is pretty much failing. So I know y'all didn't care to hear all that, but you need a report card. I got a couple more report cards I'm gonna get you while I got your attention. First and foremost, thank you. I bought a lot there and hopefully put in a business similar to Mr. Ferris there. And anyway, they asked me what I served on the board. I thought, yeah, what the heck, you know, how many meters you got? We got 90 meters. I said, well, it can't be that much. Gentlemen, I want to tell you, there's more business that goes on down there. There's more problems than a B County washwoman, mop woman. We have never, ever seen such the deterioration of the water system and mismanagement and everything else. Our biggest problem down there is, without it being incorporated as a municipal area, there's no teeth in the laws. So as we go in and try to set it up in stages, as y'all remember, the biggest thing was the emergency we had with the well sanding. And thank goodness to y'all, we were able to get the hydroplanes, and with the blessings of God, the well straightened up long enough that we could manage what little bit of sand was coming in. And when I say manage, believe you me, it's a daily thing for volunteers. I've always had a great respect for volunteer fire departments that are on call and answer. With this water system, it's every morning, it's something, and every night. And again, I've got to tell you thank you. I want to report on DMB. In my opinion, through all the things that I've dealt with in Mississippi, Louisiana, and here in Texas, the DMB should be a preferred vendor of B County. They have gone way above, and very rarely do I say complete satisfaction with somebody, their work, their character, their integrity, everything. But DMB gets that vote from us. As you're aware, we have Ms. Ophi Jimenez. She retired from the SBA and moved back to her home where she was born and raised, and she has kind of adopted the water system. She's 80 years old, and she's out there every day looking at stuff and checking on stuff and calling me and telling me what we need to do. For instance, we lost water pressure. So I run up there at 10 o'clock at night, and how this happens is almost like underground. This neighbor calls Miss Ophi. This neighbor calls Miss Ophi from the other side of the highway, and we have a problem. We don't need cameras in an alarm system, you know, we've got people. So they call, and I meet her up there, and we're out of pressure. We made our last note payment that was due in June. We've made it this month, and very proud of that. I would like to tell you that our board has been a very good steward of the monies that we generate and the monies that y'all have graciously provided us with. Our system's 28 years old. You know, it's time to expect stuff, and it's happening. And we have 2 booster pumps there, and as I understand, boosters and pumps through the oil field and agricultural industry, I've got a working knowledge of them. I snatched one of them out because its performance had dropped below what I consider 75%. Well, it's time to address it. So me and my guys pulled it off and took it to Corpus, and dropped it off. It's a Peerless pump, and Odessa Pumps is pretty much the dealer. We did that without having to go through a third-party contractor, which limits our funds for the upgrade that we want to do. So we're out there babysitting until 1 o'clock. And this, Ryan's gone, your emergency guy, he's an angel, I'm here to tell you. He may not know anything about water systems, but he keeps us out of trouble with TCEQ. And I've almost gone to fisticuffs with TCEQ over some of their burdensome requirements. And where I have issues is you've got somebody that can quote a damn manual, but they can't tell you how to fix it. And so anyway, Ryan keeps us out of trouble with them. I lost my train of thought, excuse me. Anyway, we babysitted, and we had done an E. coli test on our 66,000 gallon tank after it had been completely cleaned and coated and loaded it up with water, blasted it with chlorine for the chlorine shock, following each individual requirement. And so we had, filling it up the third time, we had potable water which could be distributed through the system. Problem was we didn't have anybody to sign off because the burdensome requirements sometimes were, by the time they float to Austin and float to somebody's desk and come back down. Well, I made the decision our temporary service tanks only hold 5,000 gallons. We had, at 66,000 gallons, we have a 3.5 day water supply. So I said, you know what, Miss Sophie, we ain't staying up here all night. So I switched over to the main tank. And we went home, went to bed, and I knew everything was covered. I got up 4:30 and went back up there, and there's no water in the tank. And the pump was running dry, and we had 3 pounds of pressure in the system. And we can't figure it out. So wait till 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, and I called EMD. Fino came out with a crew, and this is not within the scope of the grant that drilling the water well and stuff, but that's the kind of response and service that we got. He and I walked the lines, and we found a what used to be a small leak behind the post office. All of a sudden, it was a major gusher, and it drained that 66,000 gallons in that day. So we run into things that it's not that we don't have experience with them. It's almost like you driving down 359 and your airbags go off in your car and you're not prepared for them. That's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with out there. So as we, and they fixed the leak for us and we paid them. By making that first note and having, that last note and having that money in the bank, I didn't know if we needed y'all's approval or what, but the money that we were required to keep in reserves, to make sure we could make that loan note. Well, I told Miss Ophi, I said, send that money and let's start spending that. And if we get in trouble, I'll stand up and take the chewing for it. So we were able to fix 4 major leaks at about $6,500. And it took some stuff and it took some equipment a little more beyond the scope of what I have on the farm. And besides that, we have to be careful to make sure we're not breaking the law because we're not licensed plumbers. We're farm plumbers. And sorry about that, guys. So anyway, when we've corrected those big leaks, well, then the pressure rises up and we're so proud of it. But what happens is then the little bitty ones start raising their head like me showing up here to you. You don't see me but once every so often. So they become a primary concern, and that's what happened with the freeze. And then we got 8 inches of rain there and it softened the soil. And so the aging pipe just completely failed. But there's good news. We've been able to take the little monies that we generate in that small system, plus the monies that we've had in reserve, and with the gracious help of local folks and DMV. And we're slowly getting our system to where it's more maintenance now, and we're not responding in the middle of the night to stuff. We did lose pressure yesterday, and these two old ladies, Miss Opie called and said, Steve, we're out of pressure, so we meet up there. And I'm an outhouse electrician, not a full-blown one. So I go through my stuff, and hopefully we've got to call the engineer. So we call our maintenance guy with Pico, and we sit there and babysit it. We call Ryan and tell him issue a boil water notice, and we try to make sure we've covered all our bases. And they just, what happened is we lost a leg with AEP, and so it was a power company issue. But even our guy had a little trouble. Our control panel was humming, and so I was pulling relays out and trying to change them, and it didn't make it, so it stumped me. Well, when our guy got there, we start tracing backwards, and we go to our power meter, and it's acting crazy, giving all kind of codes and stuff, and it was giving just enough power through the other two legs, this being a three-phase system, that it didn't trip our alarms, and we wondered why our generator didn't come on. So we manually threw the switch from the power, so we're disconnected from the main power source. And we wait there a minute, and I get impatient, so I go start the generator. Well, the system comes back up, and pressure's up at 42 pounds, so we're getting water distributed. And I hated to issue a boil water notice because there was no breaks in the system. It was just temporarily slowed down, but our chlorine, our chlorinator, everything was working. So AEP truck shows up, we go get with him. Yep, a bird got into the system and melted one of the fuses, so we got latched up. I go through this long and lengthy dialogue to tell you we never know what the hell's gonna hit us, you know, and we're learning. But I want to assure you that the money you entrust us with is being spent very wisely. And I'm gonna be like every other hog at the trough. I'm gonna be back up here asking you. We got distribution lines that are gonna have to be replaced, and and y'all are the only guys that we can come to. I've looked at everything. Our system cannot go out and take a loan in the commercial arena and pay it back. It's just no dang way. You know, I don't care how good of a stewards we are or how much, you know, fiduciary responsibility that we take on. The sad fact is, you know, a Kelowna like that just will not generate enough income to operate under normal standards. So I humbly ask for the residents of our little small community there, number one, that we will be back to secure funds. I'm the youngest one on the water board, guys, and I'm 65. And, you know, we don't seem to have a lot of people stepping up down there because our community is probably 80% retired people. And now I get a lot of, you ought to do this and you ought to do that, but they're 80 years old plus, so I really can't smart off to them and tell them, well, get down in this hole with me and show me what you think we ought to do. So we're going to humbly be coming back to you asking for help. And it's not something that we want, it's something that we need. And so anyway.
Is that it? Yeah, Commissioner.
Mr. Kenny, I have some information for you, sir, that you may not be aware of, and Commissioner Oliver may not be aware of. several years ago, Commissioner Haggard and I did exactly the same thing, trying to get safety and security lights around the county. We ran into the same bureaucracy y'all ran into. 10 years from now, once we finish our study, what we found out, and it worked beautifully, and this is something that Commissioner Oliveris can do, we went directly to San Pat or to AEP and said, okay, the counties want to do this now, what do we need to do? And I want to take you to Pettus, very similar to Tynan. Pettus had existing lights on poles around the city. Someone else had been paying the bill of oil prices years ago, but they quit, so they all went in default. What we were able to do with AEP, and you have to go to them and talk to them, and the agreement has to be between them and the county. We had them replace every single one of those. They replaced all those fixtures at their cost, because if you replace them at your cost, our cost is more. And if there's a transformer there, it was no cost. But if they had to put one in, it was $187. If they had to put in a pole, it was $3,000. So we tried to stay away from the poles. But this is the way I would recommend y'all approach AEP in Tynan. If there were existing lights in Tynan, someone was paying the bill. Okay, go to AEP, talk to them. Okay, the county wants to take over those accounts. And what they did there in Pawnee both is one account. It's not every single light. So it looks kind of funky, if you will. That's a highly technical word. Because it may be $600 a month for the lights, but it's one account. But it's like 20 lights. They gave us a really good price. They replaced all the fixtures at their cost because there was an existing fixture there. And they said, okay, we put those in. They've been paid for, they need to be replaced. And they replaced every one of them. One at the Dairy Queen in Pettus, all those fixtures all over town. So that's the way I'd recommend you on that. It needs to come back to the court then. And I forget how we list them on the, we've got about 100 or so around the county now. And we call them safety and security lights. They're in dangerous intersections, they were this or that, but it sounds like y'all have a situation in Tynan where Commissioner Oliveris needs to get with AEP and say, okay, we want to do the same thing we did in Pettus or whatever, and go from there.
Okay.
Because you're not going to get anywhere with TxDOT. Their bureaucracy, it's got to go here, it's got to go a minute order, it's got to this. And we got so frustrated, and Commissioner Haggard, I have to give him credit, he said, why don't we just talk to them directly? AEP will only put them up for a government entity or a church or something like that. San Pat will put them up for anybody and charge you by the month. It's totally different. AEP's, they do a great job, and both of them are very, very fast.
Okay,
So that's the way I'd recommend y'all handle that.
thank you. I'll get started on that immediately. There's no light there. And I'm opening a business up at that intersection, and I'm concerned about the old folks that are gonna, come in there.
If you would, something we looked at too, we didn't want to put a safety and security light right next to somebody's house and have that light going in their house. So we were kind of picky about where they went. But if they were already existing, they put them right back in.
Thank you. Right now, you got angel wings. Now tomorrow, you'll still be the same old devil that I think you are. I appreciate that.
I'll take it when I can.
Mr. Cheney, we always appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming up.
Can I have 30 more seconds?
Sure.
All right. Let's go back to the property tax thing. So, I go in there, your girls are wonderful, absolutely wonderful. They've helped me, I just forest jumped my way through things in life. I've had a lot of help at the assessor's office and the collector's office. I never got a tax bill, so I just pop in there. I give them old gals jars and homemade jelly and stuff, and they fall all over myself. So my country grafting corruption seems to work. I got a tax bill I didn't expect on some property I bought. And my understanding was they told me I had to go pay that and before I could even come back to address the court. And then I got real upset with your third party you hired. He put a valuation of $80,000, $60,000 on the house. And the only people that have inhabited for the last 8 years are coons and honeybees and the occasional snake. And I said, I asked y'all about this last year. I got with the Tynan Volunteer Fire Department. I donated the house to them, but we stayed in a burn ban. so I couldn't do anything with it. They couldn't do anything with it. So I tried to give it to the Amish. And no disrespect to any fraternity of people out there, but even the Amish didn't want this house. That's how bad it was, and they don't go away nothing. So anyway, we went on. I got that evaluation. I called, they put me with your third-party appraiser. There could be some improved people skills with your third-party appraiser.
Mr. Cheney, I'm going to stop you. No disrespect intended, but we're way outside of the agenda item that we're on.
I understand completely.
But because you raised it, I do want to just make one point of clarification, but I don't want to open up the floor for discussion and no response, please, sir. But just to clarify, the B County Appraisal District is not an arm of B County. We do not, we vote just like other, we can place board members on that board, just like the other taxing jurisdictions, but they don't answer to us. They are an arm of the state of Texas. The appraisal district in every county in the state of Texas answers to the comptroller of public accounts. They do not answer to the
Do
county.
you approve their budget though to operate?
We do. It's not it's probably more appropriate to do offline, but it's not really an approval of their budget as much as it is we don't reject it.
Oh.
The only way to address their budget is we don't line item it. We don't have oversight like we do with our
Okay.
other departments in the county. They provide a budget to us around July, August every year. And if we can get 75% of the taxing jurisdictions in B County, which there's 19, I believe, we can get 75% of them to reject the budget in a meeting prior to the deadline from the date that they submit the budget to us, then the budget won't be approved and they have to go back and retool it for us. But that is the only way that we do it. We did it 3 years ago, I think.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, sir.
This story has a happy ending.
Oh, good.
Yes, sir. So kudos to, sorry I can't remember her last name, Deb. But we, if you haven't noticed, I'm a little more tenacious than most people. And I presented it to them in such a way that we were all going to wind up in court. And I'm no stranger to a courtroom or that process. She reached out to me and we were able to apply some common sense to things. So we've got good people there, just like we have good people here. And as a citizen, I'm very grateful for that. But there should be, in all phases of county government, how come we don't have a cliff notes, a book that says, okay, I've just learned something from you that I knew it was part of the state, but I also knew that you approved their budget, so you have no oversight whatsoever.
No, sir.
Or no input in how it's operated. And see, as citizens, we don't know that.
Yes, sir.
When he brought the subject, when Commissioner Oliveris brought the subject up about that home, I was interested in hearing that because we've got some properties out there that I'm aware of that are not, they're not paying the taxes on it. And to be honest with you, I just don't want to go through that kind of process and then wait 2 years, is this investment going to count or not? But as commissioners, can y'all institute some kind of educational system for us out here that in layman's terms that we can understand to go through the process?
Well, we can try to look and see if there's some resources that are available, absolutely.
So do I need to get on the agenda and come back up here and ask you for a
This
school
would be
book?
so much more appropriate on an agenda that's
Okay.
actually closely related.
Well, I'm sorry, I
Don't sit down.
violated
No.
your-
I let you. You didn't violate anything. I allowed it because, Mr. Cheney, I say the feeling is mutual. We appreciate you individually. I appreciate you. I enjoy it every time you show up. I love to listen to you give us an update on Tynan, but more than anything, I appreciate that you are, one, you're a member of our community, and two, you're willing to stand up and lend a hand and help out the community. And that's really, in rural communities in Texas, just like in B County, that's the only way that we make it go around. That's the
Well,
only way it
again,
works.
hat in hand,
So thank you.
tell each of you thank you, because the mess is not going away. So you need to deal with me or you deal with that mess down there. So the devil you know is probably a whole lot better than the devil you don't know down
Wow,
there.
we're very happy with you, Mr. James.
Okay.
Keep up the good work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's not an action item. Agenda item number 14, approved for review and improvement of Beeville County's procedures, policy process for contractor selection and bidding of projects by the Policy Formulation Committee for recommendation to Commissioners Court.
Move to approve the comment.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I'll second. I have a motion and a second. Commissioner DeWitt, you have the floor.
The comment, and this takes all the way back when I first started with the county. Madam Auditor, correct me if I'm wrong, what's the lower limit purchase without getting a PO?
$4.99.
Okay. I brought this up years ago. I think it should be higher. I mean, $4.99 won't buy hardly anything. And
Get you a cup of coffee.
not a cup of coffee, but I've always wondered why we didn't increase the minimum without getting a PO. That's a lot of paperwork, a lot of process, to $25 even.
It helps our books, it helps our ledger, it helps our statement of expenses, and our departments know what they're spending and how much money they have. And so when we encumber that amount and they see their statement of expenses, they know that that's already there and it's sitting there and it's taken from the monies that they have, so they can see a proper viewing of how much they have.
Okay, in other words, if we raise it to $25, I really wouldn't have to produce anything to the auditor's office that I spent $25. That's the problem. Is that correct?
But if you think about it, what's $4.99 either? I mean, they're not giving us purchase orders that are $4.99 either. So it just gives, I mean, it just gives a
I'm saying,
amount. If you would like us to change that
Well,
amount, we
I'm
can.
just
It's
talking,
just,
but
it helps our,
I looked
it
at it-
helps our.
I always looked at
books.
it from the other side. Not so much how it really helped the books, but the process it was creating.
It
on
helps
the-
our departments
For
also.
convenience.
For convenience, thank you.
Convenience
it
versus
helps-
process.
Yeah, and it helps our departments too know what they have to spend and what's still in their budget, Commissioner. So
I
it's
just-
a
I've
process.
been with the state and it was so much different. I just,
Well,
you have to go get permission and do all this paperwork for $5.12. Anyway, that, just an aside.
Discourages
I understand.
knee-jerk purchases.
That's, just a comment, that's all.
May I comment on this as well?
Of course, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. So the other purpose for this agenda is I'm asking the court and Madam Auditor seeking permission to lead the effort to put together an ad hoc committee to review our current process and how we select contractors, both in engineering and also third party. And just to make it a little bit more robust than what we currently have, work with the policy committee and then present it back to the court. And basically just giving us a little bit more structure, a little bit better way or enhancement in how we select contractors. Especially to avoid a contractor coming in and challenges, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, saying that we didn't follow the right procedure. So I think if we have some of these little small steps in place, it could definitely enhance the way we do our business.
Who is our policy formulation committee? Anybody?
So I think,
Nobody's raising their hand. Why saying things up?
It's a number of individuals.
You're on it, and you're on it, and you're on it. Okay. Mrs. Kemp.
So the agenda item that Commissioner put, he put my policy and procedures on there, and of course, it's an old one, I wanted to say that.
That's,
But
we're not
I know
approving the policy
Commissioner,
and
right,
procedure.
that it's not this line, agenda item, but I know that you want to put in a policy in my procurement.
and
the auditor's
it's an
office.
enhancement, that's really all we're looking to do.
Yes.
To better, based on the feedback that I got from some of the committee members, so I
Yes.
think it'll be good for the
Let me
committee.
get
And
some
I'm okay
clarity.
with
Was
that.
that your motion?
And I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And was that your second?
Yes,
Okay.
and then another comment, when we're working on the policy procedure for the contractor, let's make it a standard operating procedure that they put up a sign at the construction site on who they are and it just as a matter of policy, because we forget to do that, and then people say, what are they doing? Oh, really? We got into that at the expo. When people said, what are they doing behind the expo? So I know you got with your contractor, but if we have it as part of the procedure when we go out for bid or when we award a bid, we've got to put up signs. Just, thank you.
No, good idea. Ms. Cantor, are you on the policy formulation committee?
I believe Commissioner's going to put me on there, because he hasn't, that's what this agenda item's for, is for him to
But
pull
we have an
one together.
existing policy formulation
We got a bunch of
committee.
people raising their hand.
Because that's the policy committee. I mean, I don't know if formulation is in that.
Isn't that what the
Title.
policy? Yeah, okay, so the policy
Yeah.
committee is the committee that reviews and recommends revisions to our policies.
Yes, and I'm not on it.
Yes,
I
you're
had,
not
I
on
had
it.
a former employee on it, and that's one of the things the last time that y'all discussed the policy committee, that it needed to be convened so that there could be employees that are no longer here at the county taken off of that committee, because there's 2 or 3 on there.
Did we not correct that in a prior?
And I'm only saying Hyman because he's the only one that's here that's part of the committee.
Well, you got these two.
No, you got Chief.
Oh, well then all of y'all.
We haven't met.
So if I understood the motion in the second, right, the motion was in effect in support of engaging in this process. Commissioner Olivares is interested in putting something together and then working through the policy committee to get it presented to Commissioner's Court. But in order for him to put something together, he's going to have a lot of input and assistance with the auditor's office. I don't think we have to formally create a committee or an ad hoc committee. I would just suggest that the motion in the second is in support of your request that we would like you to proceed. And our next agenda item, Ms. Dolores, let's make sure we get the policy committee on it, so we can update the members and we can get a vote and get that formalized, so then you can work through that, because this is something that's going to take time.
Well, and see, and that committee is not my procurement policy committee. I'm in charge of my policy. And so what he has on here is the auditor's office policy committee. That committee is for the overall employee handbook policy.
Okay, does the auditor's office
it's two
committee, is
different-
that a committee that is set
Well, I don't
by
have a
this
committee,
board?
it's me.
It's just you?
I'm the one that, that upstates my policy when we have something different that needs to go in, grants, those types of issues.
I understand.
I
I understand.
submit, yeah.
So I'm gonna, our motion and our second is in effect to have you work with Commissioner Olivares to review that
I
policy.
can do that.
And then if we need to bring it back through the policy committee, or if we can just bring it back directly to Commissioner's Court, we can do that. But we're still gonna get the policy committee updated, so let's still get that motion on the next agenda item.
Yes.
Is there anything further we need to discuss on this agenda item? Thank you very much for y'all's input. I just want to try to keep us moving along.
Couldn't say it better.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody, for your insight. Agenda item number, are y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to agenda item number 11. This is approved Dynamark camera quote for the courthouse camera system update. We had our IT and bailiffs go and call Dynamark, and they're coming back with some really good news for us.
Okay, they do offer a PTZ camera with tracking, it'll, vehicles or people. You can program it to zoom in on them, it'll follow them through the parking lot. The only logical place to put one would be right here, because where the judges always park.
The
And
generator.
where all the expensive outside equipment is. Craig also suggested doubling the DVR to 6, well, you go from 32 to 64, there's no in between, which doubles the price.
So 1,200 for about,
About
roughly about
1,200
1,200 for the camera. So that DVR on the number 1 on the proposal,
So I'll go back to the
It's
quotes.
32,
$32.89.
He said it'd double
it would double that.
Okay.
for the
That's fine.
64 channel DVR. So you're looking at $4,200, probably 45 extra.
Oh, including the camera?
Yeah, that includes the camera.
So additional 4,500.
Is that a good amount or is that a guess?
That's, Close.
Not to exceed 23,000. How's that? That's kind of what I was
That,
saying.
that
Is that good?
And they,
Is that
Because then
up
when
for
I get
25?
the,
Should we go up to
invoice-
25?
Okay.
Go a little bit
Because then when I get the
more
invoice, then I'll do a specific
Well, that's
electronic.
he said they should have everything by the end of the week. if it's
Wiring?
approved.
Wiring's still good?
No, wiring's good.
Okay.
Good, that's,
Judge, let me amend my original motion then to approve this on a not to exceed $25,000 basis to upgrade to that PTZ camera and double DVR.
The motion, that's an amended second. Does that include the two additional, thank you, Mr. Oliver, does that include, did you have some comment?
No, I was just telling him that it would be best to go to the 64 channel just because if you're looking at one or two more cameras to begin with, you're gonna be at maximum capacity. What this does is it gives them future growth without having to say next year, oh, we need 3 more cameras, and then having to double it again. Also, it gives them more storage capacity for longer retainment of videos as well, so.
Excellent advice, thank you so much, Greg, I really appreciate
And
it.
he has agreed to help me program the panel.
All right.
I said assist.
We can hash out that in a written document after this meeting.
Did that include any additional cameras that y'all might need?
After reviewing all the cameras, I'm pretty sure we'll get in every section of those.
Yeah,
You're okay.
well, with this PTZ, it's gonna cover this whole side.
I got you.
So it's gonna come back and forth towards the door.
Good job.
Thank you so much for all y'all's work. You know, it's sort of one of the unsung things that our bailiffs do, is that they really are, they're like junior ITs. I mean, really, if you ever need them, Craig, you just let me know. I'm sure Chief Deputy Jones will agree to like a temporary transfer for labor, maybe just for a couple hours a day or something. But is there any further discussion? Thank you all for all your work and effort. Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without
Good
exception.
job.
Back to agenda item
Yes.
number
Yes.
15. Approve Office of the Governor Public Safety Office CEO Law Enforcement Certifications and Insurances Form for the Sheriff's Office.
Approved.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 16, approve B County Sheriff's Office 2023 Racial Profiling Report.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything we need to discuss on it at all? Nothing at all? Yeah, there's any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. You have a second on that.
I got Lynn.
Okay. Agenda item number 17, approve tax assessor collector's request to use the county credit card for hotel accommodations and registration fees for the TACA conference, June 2nd through June 5th, 2024. Registration is on March 1, 2024. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Was that you?
Second.
Do I have Commissioner Lenny? I think you, Chair. Commissioner Olivato, sorry about that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 18, approve tax assessor request to use county credit card for hotel accommodations and registration fees for the TSAA conference on March 23 to March 27, 2024.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Farias and a second by Commissioner Lenny. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 19, approve tax payment refunds pursuant to section 31.11 of the Texas Property Tax Code, refunds of overpayment or erroneous payments.
Reluctantly, make a motion to do so.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, and just for the publics, these are instances where we have individual taxpayers that actually pay more in taxes than they had to. And so the tax assessor just has to get court approval in order to refund them the money that they don't owe the county.
A lot of times it's a mortgage company that pays it twice.
So, and this is just a couple. Ma'am?
Can I add something to that? And that's only if it's 5,000 or more.
Only if it's 5,000 or more.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, they don't get a refund at all.
No, otherwise it doesn't need to come to court. It doesn't need to come to court.
That was a bad joke for me. Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm gonna move away. I'm gonna move a little further away, just.
It's been wonderful serving y'all these last 4 years. There's no further discussion. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 20, approve and acknowledge assignment to agreement for professional engineering services dated March 31st, 2021, and any amendments regarding Tynan Water, WSC water wastewater improvements between Key County and Thornhoff Consulting Engineers, Inc. is hereby assigned, transferred, and conveyed to West Texas Consultants, Inc. for the Texas Department of Agriculture grant number CFC 21-0478.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 21, approve amendment to the Auditor's Office procurement procedures and update under purchase categories, Appendix A, approved vendor list.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? This is that same policy we just looked at, but it's increasing the vendors on
Vendor
the
list is
attachment A.
Yes.
That's a good list, too.
It was, I thought so as well.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 22, approve and declare electronics items for the IT department as non-functional and unsalvageable to be picked up by STS Electronic Recycling for proper disposal.
Second?
I've got Commissioner Lenny with the motion and Commissioner DeWitt with the second. Very fast, good job. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 23, approve Affordable Care Act Reporting and Tracking Service, ARTS, renewal agreement.
Motion. I'll make the motion to approve.
I've got a motion. I've got a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Ladies and gentlemen, for anybody that's wondering why we're moving so quickly at this point in time, this is largely housekeeping. Agenda item, this is not housekeeping, no, this next agenda, I'm sorry, poor timing on my part. Agenda item number 24, my apologies, we probably could have moved this earlier in the agenda. Presentation of certificate of completion to Commissioner Sammy Fridius, sorry for butchering your name just now, Precinct 3 by Randy Shower.
Yes.
Ms. Shower, you have the floor, what's going on?
I'm just here on behalf of Texas A&M Extension Office to present Commissioner Frias for successfully completing 15 hours of educational training during the Commissioners Court Leadership Academy Session 2. There you go. And thank you for all you do.
Does this get him any perks or benefits, free coffee?
We'll get you a really nice plaque on top of that, and maybe a cup of coffee.
That's great. Maybe a couple bags of those pecans y'all sell. Do y'all still have those pecans in stock?
I don't like that. That's a really bad word. But yes, we still have them.
Is that
We have mixes and pecans and peanuts.
Wait, what?
We have mixes and peanuts left, actually. Yeah, so I'll bring you a bag.
So yeah, if you're hungry, don't hesitate. You can pick up a bid form. You can give more money to the boys and girls at the Junior Livestock Show, and you can buy some pecans and peanuts. Thank you,
Excellent.
Thank you, and congratulations, Commissioner Frias.
How many years, 4 years to get that?
Oh, man.
That's good. That's a good accomplishment. Moving on, agenda item number 25, approve Texas opioid settlement agreements. We have no settlement agreements to approve. Moving on, agenda item number 26, Hurricane Harvey, Texas General Land Office, GLO, Community Development, Block Grant, CDBG, status and project update. Gentlemen, any update?
Commissioner Olivares.
Yeah, and I'm going to refer to Jen as well, too. She has some updates. You want to cover some of that?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Jennifer Reyna, Grant Administrator. So this one was the application that we sent out on May 22nd. So it's been a long time coming. GLO just did a preliminary update that we got last week. And with that, they're just giving us a little heads up. They're going to be requesting additional information. So that's what Commissioner Olivares was mentioning earlier. We had Natalie with GrantWorks who initially submitted the application. We now will be working with Lenore with GrantWorks, and she will be doing the back work with the engineer to get a lot of that information that we need to spice up our application. So it has not been approved or denied just yet. We're still in the interim, but until then, I'm going to be working with GrantWorks to make sure that we get those requests within that 5-day time frame. So we have a list of those items that we're going to be working on that we're working on right now.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Any questions, Commissioner Williams?
Most of the updates are not actually ours, they belong to our engineering firm that we hired.
Okay.
So it belong, Hanson will be doing most of those.
Most of them are description.
The only thing on our end is we just need to keep on them and keep pushing, like daily phone calls to make sure that
Correct.
it's within that time frame.
Correct.
Because I looked at that list and it's not anything that B County has to do, it's our engineering firm.
Correct. A lot of them are more detailed descriptions or map updates that we don't have that technical information that the engineer will be providing.
Any other questions? No questions? Thank you so much,
Thank
Ms. Randall. Good update. Moving on, agenda item number 27, American Rescue Plan, ARP status and projects. Gentlemen, anything?
With the EOC, I explained earlier that the electricians were breaking water lines, which we got that taken care of. Did get with Victory on getting signs out. And then also got with Mr. Mercer, was sent an email with no reply on putting a meeting together for picking out colors of interior. Also, plumbers needed to do a little bit more, but they didn't want to start trenching. I understand because we were predicted to have rain Sunday, which we didn't get. So everything they're out there this morning, should be moving along.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions or anything? Okay. Moving on, that gets us to the end. We have no executive session items today, so move on to agenda item number 28, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you all for your time today. This is a really good meeting.
I'm gonna give you my ADT.